Hi everybody. The series of videos you're going to see are taken from my Facebook Live that I've been doing in the evenings of the build of this aircraft. Now, one reason I've done this is it's just so much easier to plug in my webcam to my computer, stream it onto my Facebook. People can ask me questions. So the videos you're going to see right now, you'll notice that sometimes I'm answering questions and it's not me hearing voices in my head. It's actually people on my computer asking me questions while I'm just building things. The reason I've done this is it just got too much work to try to record a video, edit that video. Sometimes I would have to edit sound into it because my camera's audio didn't work good with my external microphone audio, and it just became a pain in the butt. So what you're seeing right now is a series of videos of me building the airplane, but it's through my Facebook Live. Now, these first videos were really crappy quality and the audio was crappy, and as I kind of figured out what I was doing, it got much, much better. So understand the first series of videos you're seeing here are crap quality, but then they get much better toward the end. I have about 24 hours of videos I recorded over the last month and a half, and I'm going to try to get each one of them up as about 30-minute pieces or less here on YouTube. So thanks for watching, everybody. I love all my followers, I love all the emails, and I love all the support. Have a great day and rock on. Hey everybody, hopefully this is streaming right now. So I'm not expecting a lot of people to show up because I gave this such short notice, but I had a good friend reach out to me and want me to expand a little bit more on how I'm drilling these holes in this really hard steel. I rushed to get this done. If you noticed right here, a slice. I was reaching for my camera and just hit my drill bit here and just sliced the crap out of my arm. But it's no big deal. I just put a little alcohol on it and clean it up, and it's pretty much quit bleeding now. And there's no blood, but it's a pretty nice scratch, huh? So, but as they say, the show must go on. So, but one thing is be really careful when you're working around drill bits on a lathe like this, because as I reached out to hit this light, I caught my arm and just gashed it wide open there. It doesn't need stitches or anything, but I just pour raw alcohol on it and clean it and it'll be fine. So, but I'm going to get it started now, and basically I've drilled holes in steel, which is like the piano wire steel, which is like the axle steel, the hard or hardened steel. And then I use the steel that bolts are made out of. And if you notice here, you can see the threads in the middle, but if you've watched my earlier videos, you saw on the lathe where I smoothed this out to be able to slide the wheel on. So this is an axle for a two-wheel bogie that has a strut in the middle, and hopefully you can see that clear enough. But what I'm going to do here is drill a hole in this, and I do want to do a little disclaimer. I'm not saying this is the right way by any means, but this is what works for me. One of the things is that you need to get this to turn as slow RPM as you can, because the harder the steel and the slower you turn that steel when your drill bit makes contact, the less heat is going to be created on that drill bit. I've had people email me and say, I have no idea how you're drilling holes so good in really hard steel, and it's all about the RPM. Now, if I were to use this part of my drill, I could get this down to really, 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 really slow RPM, but it's really hard to align that with a basically a 1/4 inch axle that I'm going to drill a hole in for a 632 bolt stud to be stuck out of the end of it. So, and if I haven't explained it, basically what I'm doing is I'm drilling a hole in the end of the axle so that a hang on, let me see where I put it. So that a 632 can screw in it. Then I'm going to cut off the end of the shaft, and I can run a nut on that with a washer, and that's what holds my wheel onto my axle. Hopefully that makes sense. So what I got to do first though is I need to make basically just like when you take a center punch and you punch it and you put that little dimple in there to guide your drill bit, you need to do the same on the end of your axle. So what I do is, I don't know if this is a centering tool or a pivot or whatever the hell it's called on my lathe. I used to know. But it is a really, really hard steel. So what I do is I get that lined up like this. I start my lathe. And I'm going to run this end to the end and just slightly push it for about 4 or 5 seconds. Got to lock that down. And what it does is it creates enough of a dimple that now when I put my drill bit in here, it has a basically the dimple that starts the drill bit, okay? Let me tighten that up a little bit more. I can feel it sliding on me. So now what I'm going to do is, I do like to take a little bit of, I use Royal Purple motor oil. I think it's called Royal Purple. But I take a little tube like this, I put my finger over it to keep it from running out. And then I'm going to just barely, keep in mind you want the RPM to be as slow as you can possibly get it. Always wear some kind of glasses or safety glasses, just in case something comes flying out of there. Keep in mind, if this is not perfectly centered, it doesn't matter because all you're doing is creating a stud which is going to hold your wheel on the axle. And my bit drifted a little bit, but it's fine. I just need to put a hole in the end of this, okay? So I'm not sure how well you can see that. Yeah, I use centering bits too, but I don't know. I don't have a lot of luck with that. This has been the way I've had success. And I probably have a cheap centering bit because I've seen really nice ones that have the real high angles on it so that as you run in there, it can create it. The one I had more of a point and it wore off. It just didn't work right. So, and I'm pretty stupid. I always buy the cheapest the first time, then realize it doesn't work, and then go out and buy the expensive. So I always end up wasting a bunch of time and money. So right now, I've got it going at about 1/4 of an inch. You want to go really slow when you're doing this. And if you hear any popping or cracking like it's trying to catch the bit, you can twist your bit right off and break it off in there, okay? So what I'm going to do is grab and put a little bit more oil on it. And I'm only going to do one hole tonight. I'm not going to do all 4 because I have 2 axles. But in tapping it, you need to decide how well you have to make your tap be secured. I have a hard time with really hard steel tapping it if you use the bit that comes with the tap, because the tap's supposed to take out only the thread where the threads of the shaft is, and I sometimes will make the hole bigger, so I've just got the grooves of the thread in there, and because all I'm trying to do is get a 632 to go in there tight, and then I glue it in, or epoxy. If I'm going into aluminum, I need it to be a structural part. Yeah, I'll use the right size bit, but you know, I just I haven't had a lot of luck tapping hardened steel without breaking the tap off inside it. But again, I'm buying my taps at Home Depot and Lowe's. I'm not buying expensive taps, and maybe if I bought an expensive tap, the steel would be a little bit harder. But so far, this is going in pretty good. I want to go in about 3/8 to 1/2 inch is what I want to go in. I do have cutting oil for machining that I should probably be using on this, but the Royal Purple seems to save my bit and I still get a good cut. And I need to go just a little bit more. What really sucks sometimes is when you get almost as far in as you need and the bit grabs and it twists off and it's in there and you've ruined the axle. There's no way to get that at least I've not had any success trying to get a bit out of hardened steel once I break it off in there. Let's see if that's deep enough. Yeah, just a little bit more. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just stop it. I'm going to back everything off. And I'm going to get this a little bit out of my way. Then I'm going to grab my cheapo tap here. And again, disclaimer here, I'm not an expert. I taught myself how to do all this crap. I'm sure if I took a machine class. Now keep in mind, in high school I did take shop where I learned, to basically do some stick welding. I did turn something on a lathe, which was like a little hammer, but that's the only education I've had in this. What I do when I tap is I go in until I feel it start to get tight, and then I back it out, and it helps clean off any debris that's gotten into the tap. Now, if this was a big axle where I had like a 1/4 inch tap going into it, I could run that all the way in and out of there because it's a lot thicker and it's hardened steel, and the tap would work. But when you get from 8/32 down, you can break taps really easy. When you get down to a 256 tap, you're screwed. Okay, just try to avoid doing a 256 tap because it is absolutely a pain in the rear end. And that went in pretty good. And then what I want to do is I want to test my and my 632 screwed in there perfectly. So now what I'll do is I'll take my Dremel, and if you can see this, I'll take my Dremel and I'm going to grind this off right there. I can put my wheel on, put a washer up against the end of the axle, and then run my 632 nut on, and that holds my wheel on. And I really love doing this. Putting a collar on here with the driving in the Allen is not strong enough, at least for me doing giant scale airplanes. I've seen wheels fly off. Even if you drill a flat spot, it can come off. Now, if you drill a countersunk hole in there and run the Allen on a collar into that hole, that probably won't come off. But doing it this way, I have never had one of these fail, and it screws in there really nice. I'm going to put a little bit of what is it? It's like 24 epoxy I got from Aircraft Spruce. It's a really slow drying epoxy, and I'll mix up some of that. Or I might take the slow epoxy West, and mix it in with a little bit of that filler stuff. I can't remember what it's called, that I use in my West systems and make my own epoxy. But hopefully that works, and you all saw it. So this is just kind of a last moment video I did because somebody emailed me and said, show how you drill that hard steel. And if you just join, start at the beginning of the video and you can watch the whole thing. But now I've just got to drill out this end and do the same on both ends of this axle. So kind of in review, so you understand how I make an axle, is this was a 5/16 inch threaded rod I got from Menards, which is the same as a Lowe's or a Home Depot, depending on where you are in the country. I put it in a lathe and I machine off the amount of steel to make this exactly a 1/4 inch shaft, because I use 1/4 inch ball bearings that go in my 3D printed rims. That way I end up with the axle being 1/4 inch. I then drill out the end of the axle and tap it for 632. Now, if this was going to be a 3/8 inch where I use 5/16 inch bearings, I would tap this out with an 8/32. But hopefully this helps you understand. Another thing that I want to cover real quick is, when I get these emails about doing this, people want me to talk about other things while I'm building. They almost like me to run a video while I'm building where I'm just talking about stuff, and I don't know how that would ever work. But a couple of things that I took some notes on that I want people to think about is nowadays technology seems to drive innovation. And technology doesn't have to be electronics. It can be anything. It can be carbon fibers. I mean, technology, in my opinion, is just anything that's more technical, high tech. Now, you'll probably find on Wikipedia I'm full of crap here. I'm just talking about FBL. But what pays for the innovation though? So if technology drives innovation, who pays for the innovation? Is it the hours you spend late at night? Is it somebody who's paying you to build something for them? You know, one of the things that has always made me successful is it's hard to get high rewards without taking a high risk. It is really, really hard to always play it safe. And a lot of people I see fail is because they play it so safe, they aren't expanding on what their true capabilities are. They just don't have enough self-confidence. I've seen so many people in my life, both in business, model aircraft, in my industry I work in, where they want to do the slow and steady because they're just scared of taking the chances. I've seen some companies in 20 years become $300 million companies, where other companies only became $50 million companies. Same industry, one didn't embrace technology, one did not embrace innovation. The other one is nothing but technology and innovation. So you'll see a lot of things that I do where I have complete failures. And that's just what I do. I'm lucky enough that my wife and family and everybody backs my hobby because, you know, as you know now, I'm trying to print 3D motors to supplement the money that I throw away building airplanes. But that's just what I've done for 20 years. I mean, when I look at the money I've thrown away, it's embarrassing. But if you look at the cool things I've done, to me, it's very rewarding. So I'll quit babbling now, but all I want everybody to understand is what I do is not that much different than what anybody else could do. You just need to be able to weigh the risk, weigh the reward, and say to yourself, you know, what is my exposure to that? Now, if you're going to do something stupid that could affect owning your house or feeding your family, totally different thing here. To a certain point, I guess. But if you're in business, you know, you can be the person that is always playing it safe and you're wondering why everybody else passed you by. And it's because people understand what that means in that high risk, high reward. And if you look at the airplanes I've been building and the things I've been doing, I take a lot of risk in what I do. I do stuff I've never done before. I just jump in and try to learn. And I do it. So thanks for watching the videos. And what's the expression? You're not failing if you're not trying hard enough. Yeah, you know, one of the things that I find interesting is if you look at some of the greatest quotes in the world, it came from extremely successful people. And there's a reason for that. There's an absolute reason for that. So thanks for watching my videos. I hope you learned about my axle making here. And I hope I help everybody understand that you can all figure out how to do this with just time and patience. You know, somebody really set me off last week when they said, boy, I wish I had the luxury of having enough time to play with toy airplanes. And the way I look at that is shame on them. If, you know, they're going to show up at 8:30 in the morning and leave at 4:30 in the afternoon and go home and watch TV for 4 hours, that's on them. I watch very little TV, and if I do watch TV, I do it in my shop while I'm working on an airplane, okay? So you can find time. All you need to spend is 1 hour a day, every day, on model aircraft, and you can build some of the most beautiful planes in the world. And that would be a luxury to have an hour every day. Because there may be 3 or 4 days I don't even touch the airplanes, and then there'll be a month in a row I can touch it for an hour each night. Or I just get up at 4:30 in the morning and work on the plane. So thanks for watching my videos, everybody. I'm going to sign off now, and I hope you're enjoying these. I hope these aren't becoming, you know, repetitious. And if you joined at the end, yes, I reached right as I was getting ready to go live. I reached out to adjust my camera, caught my arm on my drill bit right here, if you can see the drill bit over here, and ripped my arm open. And it stopped bleeding, luckily, when I got the video going. I'm still worried about, you know, it being clean in here. I keep pouring alcohol on it. And I think I'm going to be just fine. So hey, thanks everybody for watching the videos and have an awesome night. Take care.